we've heard how much the world is changing, about how virtual solutions and a more decentralized response is needed. And so I wanted to bring a highlight from one of the most unique parts of the Swiss fintech story, which is the crypto valley. I guess we're all kind of holding our breath a bit here to see how it continues to evolve. But Richard, you're an entrepreneur. You're in the middle of this all. Are you seeing the same thing from your side as you're hearing described here, or how do you see the crisis evolving from Lika?
So, like two things. On the one hand, we have Switzerland and our preferred way of life. And the other thing is what has been reality around the globe for many people always. Life is just tough. And I think, especially in Switzerland, we had a kind of fairy tale world where on the one hand, there was never really good funding for definitely mid-sized and even smaller startups. It had been improving a bit, but it's relative to other countries, it has always been quite laid back. So now the economic impact of the coronavirus is huge. And we have only seen the first impact, but there is much more to come. But now, at least for people in this space, this is the biggest opportunity which we've ever seen, because the world at large will have to fast forward into everything that modern fintech, blockchain, tokenization offers. So it's a great opportunity. And what I think we have to understand like two things. One is, let's work together. I mean, how many of the startups say, I'll conquer the world? No, let's conquer the world together. Let's be intelligent how we can collaborate. And then, to take your term, you say you need 12, 15 months runway. In the US, never a company had runway for so many months. Because why? You only have to get one investor or two. And that's a very different thing to running a statistical game where you hope to have n investors. So I think work together and be very tactical and at the same time strategic.
Look, so it's clear, Richard said it. I mean, obviously in Switzerland, we were in a privileged situation, in terms of the overall situation, right? The economic situation. However, for startups, it was always tough. What we see is that, many people that come here to establish, entrepreneurs that come to Switzerland to establish their blockchain-based, companies come here because of the regulatory framework. That doesn't go away. Many of these companies are investable. They've built serious technology. The question now is, as Richard said, it's an opportunity because a lot of innovation and a lot of innovative solutions have been built. They're ready to be used. Now we have to find the use cases are clear. So just imagine about, identity, confirmation of who you are in these remote, now that we all have to be remote, right? So making sure that certain information hasn't been changed, who has looked at the document last, all these questions that this technology that we're talking about, blockchain and DLT, will contribute foundational solutions for. Some of these use cases are there, and some of these applications have been built. So now it is a question of how can we translate that into action in today's world. You could also think about how can the infrastructure of the financial system be improved in order to handle such crises, right? So how do you get money to people in an efficient way? How do you keep track of credits? How do you keep track of this liquidity that comes into the market? How can you make good borrowers how can you enable good borrowers that still have good cash flow to benefit from credit facilities that exist? All these questions are now solved still in legacy environments, which are really inefficient and quite costly.
But there is one issue, I think, which we're facing in Switzerland is for each of the issues that you have mentioned, there is now basically one small startup in Switzerland which tries to address that issue, or even several trying to each individually. And if you would make a kind of a mind map of the tasks which you have to fulfill to be able to achieve those products, you would see 80% or even 90% overlap. So basically we should just work together, even create packages of products, services, also be innovative in how we market. So that is not being explored, at least for me.
Yeah, I would agree, Richard. And of course, that's the benefit of having a mature venture environment, right? Not just venture capitalists, but a more mature venture environment where this happens with more ease, right? Which is what we would be used to in a Silicon Valley or or other clusters of the world where this happens a bit easier and quicker.
But why not here?
No, that doesn't mean that we cannot do it.
So let's do it. So I find
Well, we here at the FinTech Association, and I know also at Crypto Valley Labs, are big believers in the concept of ecosystem. And
I think first we have a big understanding problem that, and I think this has to be addressed now, especially with the coronavirus and its economic impact. If we want to as a society, stomach the body blow of the coronavirus and its outfall on the economy, we have to fast forward how the financial system works. There is no choice. It has to be done, not in 6 months or a year, but really today. And I find we have to change the urgency of our debate. So much of what is said, wouldn't it be nice to have this a little better? Wouldn't that be nice to have a little this faster? It's not about niceness. It's essential. And the sense of urgency has not been communicated because I think at heart we haven't had this fighting spirit. So I'm just, in favor of just go full blow in and do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone, enjoy the weekend.